All right, so we'll wait a few more minutes for more participants to join in, but I just want to remind you all that to join this meeting, you do need to pre-register, and that is so that we know how many members of the audience would like to join. We do have a Zoom moderator. Today's Zoom moderator is Eric. He's behind the scenes. If you do have a question to ask, please click on the raise hand button to speak, or to ask a question, you can either speak or you can send us a message via the chat window. And as I said earlier, the workshop is being recorded and will archive it for a couple months for anyone to refer to if needed. Also, everything that we'll be sharing with you today can be found on our website. Our website address is www.secvote.org. Come on over, visit our webpage. There's lots of information about where to vote, about the vote by mail process, Voters' Choice Act. You can also find a list of where to vote in person, of where to drop off the ballots. And I will talk about all those different things in a few minutes from now. These languages or these workshops, we call them the voter language workshops. These are popular. We do have quite a big number of participants at different times for different languages. And the most important thing though to remember is that this is open to anyone. Okay, so regardless of what language you speak, you're welcome to join in. Usually what we do is we'll present this in a specific language for that specific workshop. But of course, our staff is bilingual. So if anyone asks a question in that language, we'll translate, provide the answer, and then translate back to English and provide the English again in English for those of you who do not speak those languages, or you feel more comfortable with English as your language, okay? So this is it. Also, what you see on the screen are all the languages we have to cover between now and the special election day of November 7th. Today's first is English. The last one will be on Thursday, October 26th for Nepali audience. We do have this flyer on our webpage, okay, and I'll show this to you a little bit later on in the presentation where to find it. But we do provide QR codes. We include those in our flyers whenever possible. And so you can always point your cell phone at this QR code and it'll take you to the webpage where you can download this flyer. Oops, okay, so today's language is just a monolingual. So let me start the meeting today. Okay, so again, I want to say thank you to Eileen, Jose, and Pratima for joining us. It's good to see that we do have a small audience, but it's an audience nonetheless, okay? And so today's workshop, or this series of workshop, is to talk about the upcoming special election on November 7th, 2023, okay? So that's about a month and some weeks to go. And that election, though, is a special election, meaning it's not a county-wide election. And what that really means, or the best way to get a grasp of what a special election means, is that it's not an election for all the voters in this county, okay? Meaning, again, for all of the voters in Santa Clara County, only a specific quantity of voters in a specific area will be eligible to vote. And that's about over 70,000 voters who are eligible to vote on November 7th, earlier or on November 7th itself, okay? Now, who is eligible to vote and what is on the ballot? For this special election, there's two distinct areas. The San Jose Evergreen Community College District, there is one vacant seat that needs to be filled, and then the Los Altos School District. And those of you in the Los Altos School District, you'll be voting for a parcel tax measure. All right, so you'll be deciding on a tax revenue measure. Again, as I said, important to remember that this is not a it's a special election. It's not a countywide election. It also, when we have these special elections, usually what happens is that one neighbor on one side of the street or on one side of the block may get to vote this election, but a neighbor across the street or down the end of the block maybe does not get to vote this election. Again, it all depends on the boundaries for where we have these elections, okay? Each voter does have a specific precinct voting boundary, and that is where you'll be voting. This is how we designate the specific ballot types for each voter, okay? And so it's not, don't look at the county as one big county of 1 million voters, but think of the county of small pockets of small precincts, different neighborhoods, different areas of the neighborhood, parts of a street in a neighborhood could easily be different precincts. Now, those of you who are eligible to vote this election will be mailed a vote by mail packet, all right? What we call it usually, the short is VBM or vote by mail. Early voting starts in this office here at the Registrar of Voters office in San Jose on October 9, 2023. That is for any one of you who wishes to come and vote in person in our office, okay? And so this is standard. Every election, we open the doors to vote 30 days before election, and that is, in this case, for October 9th, 2023. So that's about in fact, that's next Monday, okay? Today's the 2nd. For this election, we're gonna have 3 vote centers open on October 28th. And then on election day, you'll have a total of 4 vote centers. The hours will be slightly different for the early vote center days, okay? Vote center days will be 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. And then on election day, it's a regular election hour day, meaning 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. All of our vote centers, when they open, they're open for at least 8 hours. They'll be open for the whole day. On election day, they'll be open from 7 to 8, and they'll be open through lunchtime, dinner time, break time, meal breaks, and so forth, okay? This is why we stock our vote centers with a good amount of election officers so they can take breaks and they can help the voters as needed. So I want to talk about the Voters' Choice Act, all right? Many of you may not be aware, but in Santa Clara County, and in fact, in all of the state of California, we do have a voting model that is called the Voters' Choice Act. This was implemented years ago, but in this county, in Santa Clara County, we implemented it in 2020 when we had the presidential election of March 2020, okay? And so this, of course, is not something that we create on our own. Voters' Choice Act is not something that we decide. It's coming to us from the Secretary of State of California, all right? At the time, there was Mr. Padilla, and under his direction, under his governance, Voters' Choice Act was created, and that's made available to every county in California, all right? And so again, this is thanks to Senate Bill 450 from 2016. It's been around, but it's been slowly adopted by different counties in California, okay? California, you have just over 50 counties. And so how many counties do you think in California have adopted Voters' Choice Act? Can I take a guess? How many? About 27, okay? In fact, at this moment could be about 28, all right? Because it is a good model. It basically allows more voters to vote earlier, more voters to actually vote. Voters that run out of time to vote, they can actually vote the weekend before, 2 weekends before. But most of all, every voter receives a vote by mail packet so they can start voting from home, make their decisions, take their time, and then mail it into us or drop it off in person, okay? But the Voters' Choice Act, again, there's about 27 counties in the state of California, which means by volume, in terms of actual voters, more than 50% of the voters in the state of California already vote under the California's Voters' Choice Act. And that's because many of the counties have many, many voters. For example, Santa Clara County has just over 1 million voters. LA County, for example, is over 5 million voters. Okay, so if you add the bigger counties, then you have a big majority of the state of California already enjoying the facility and easy of voting from home under the Voters' Choice Act. Now, with the Voters' Choice Act, what we do is we send a mailer to each voter. So voters who are registered and who are eligible to vote this election have been mailed this mailer. All right. So if you live again in the two areas in Los Altos area and also in the San Jose Evergreen area, you should have already received this mailer. When you see this mailer, please don't throw it away. Don't put it on the side. Don't ignore it. This mailer contains great information about the election. It gives you instructions or a summary of what your options are to vote or how to vote, okay, or where to vote, in other words. And then it gives you information on the redistricting that took place a couple years ago in the county of San Jose. And then, of course, even more information, okay? It gives you deadlines. For example, vote by mail ballots are mailed on October 9th to all of you. So next Monday, if you are eligible to vote this special election, expect to receive a vote by mail packet in your mailbox. You can also start voting early here in our office at the Registrar of Voters office at Burger Drive from October 9th through the 6th. Vote centers will be opening on October 28th through November 7th. And then, of course, last day to vote, November 7th, Election Day. And I believe you know what time the polls close. The polls always close at 8 o'clock. And so again, this is the mailer that you received at home. Again, if you are eligible to vote this election, please check your mailbox. You'll have one of these, all right? In fact, when you get this, you'll see all the information about Voters' Choice Act. Now, we have been sending these out to all of you eligible voters since 2020, all right? Since before even the March election, because we sent this again 45 days before. And so on this card, basically you have this basic quick summary, okay? The choice is yours of how you choose to vote the election. You can vote by mail or you can vote in person. So let me start with vote by mail. When it comes to vote by mail, our office, our vote by mail division, will send to every voter, every eligible voter, a packet. It's going to be a somewhat, largish packet. It's a white packet. Inside the packet, you're going to have a return prepaid postage envelope. You're going to have the official ballot or ballots, depending on how big the election is. You're going to have a list of the vote centers where to drop off if you'd like to do so. You also have going to have a list of where to drop off the vote by mail ballots at one of our authorized and official drop boxes, okay? For this election, so that you know, because again, it's a very small election, it's a special election, there's only 13 boxes. But come again next March when you have a presidential election going on, you'll have over 100 boxes to drop off, okay? And so this is information that you see on this left side of the card. Now, on the right side, there's information of how to vote in person. Obviously, you can always vote from home, right? But if you do prefer to vote in person, if you want to come check out our vote centers, if you have not voted at a vote center because you'll be voting from home since 2020, for example, come look at our vote centers, okay? Our vote centers have now been enlarged because by virtue of the need for us to have more staff, to have the voting equipment, and also to provide, a better, more convenient space for everyone. Also, we do follow different criteria to find these vote centers. All of these vote centers are ADA approved. All these vote centers have parking lots. They should have, they're very convenient. They're accessible by public transportation. And of course, we try to have these spread out throughout the county, throughout all communities, okay? We try to reach out to the communities that, language and low participation and so forth, all right? Now, what about the vote centers, right? Now, The vote centers, unlike the previous voting model in which we only had the polling places to vote for one day, when it comes to the vote centers, they are open up to 10 days before election day. And what that does is it gives you 2 full weekends to vote. So no one has an excuse to say, oh, I did not have time to vote on a Tuesday, because now you have 10 days to vote before election day in person. And of course, if you choose to vote from home, you have your mail ballot that we sent to you 30 days before election. Okay, so again, no excuse for anyone not to vote. All right. And now that means, of course, you have 2 Saturdays and 2 Sundays to vote. So more days to vote. Also, inside the vote center, you will see that inside the vote center, you will see that we have different voting equipment. We do now provide touchscreen voting machines. We do also provide audio ballot voting, and of course, a variety of other um, ways for someone to vote in. We do have the voting, uh, touchscreen machines do have the connection for SIP and puff voting and so forth. Now, these voting machines are really very accessible because you can actually go in. You can start, for example, with one language, go through the ballots, go through the different pages, and then if you choose, you can switch to different language. Perhaps you want to come back to English, okay? Also, you can make your selections as you go along. And if you decide later on that you want to review or to change one of your selections, you can always go back, find the ballot or the measure that you're looking for, change the, how you'd like to vote for, and then move forward. Okay. And then at the very end, when you are satisfied with your selections, what you can do is you can then click on the cast ballot or print the ballot. And then at that point, the touchscreen will then print a summary of your ballot. And then you'll bring that over to your scanner, and then you'll introduce that in the scanner. And that at that point, that's when you are actually casting your ballot. Okay, so I do actually have a couple of photos of these two equipment later in the presentation, and when we get to that point, I will refer back to those items again, so you have a better idea and can put two and two together. Okay, because I know I'm just talking right now, but obviously in a few minutes I will talk about it and show you the photo, so it'll be easier for you to see it. And I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the questions right now, but I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have at the end of the presentation, okay? Because all I have in front of me right now is the actual presentation. All right, so then let me go vote. Let me go back to the presentation. So vote from home and vote by mail, all right? The beauty of the Voters' Choice Act is that basically we send, or the Registrar of Voters Office sends to every eligible voter a vote by mail packet, as I already told you earlier, okay? It's sent to your address, all right? So if you voted last November and then you moved and you didn't tell us, guess where your address, your ballot is going to? Your old address, okay? So this is why it's important that you take the time to update your information. You can go to our website and update your information. You can visit us here at our office. You can also visit us at one of hundreds of outreach events we go to. If you see our booth, our tent, our canopies, our, you know, little shop where we meet our voters and the community, ask for the VARF document. Okay, and I forget how it exactly stands for, but that's the document where you can actually update your address and give it back to us. Okay, and so that way, what happens is we'll have your correct address, and then we'll send your ballot to the new address where you now reside. Okay, and then you'll be set not only for the special election, but you'll also be set for next March. Okay, if you are not eligible to vote this special election on November 7th, but you are here to learn more about voting in general, then please be sure that you update your information if you need to. If you have relatives, friends, children who moved to college, if you have anyone that you know has moved recently within the county, ask them to update their information, okay? Because it's very important. Now, if you choose to vote in person, you could always vote, change your address when you go and vote in person, because at that moment, we'll update your information and give you the appropriate ballot type to vote for, okay? Anyways, I don't want to get off to the side here and talk about other things. So again, also the best thing about the vote by mail packet is that the postage is prepaid, all right? You can mail it back to us via snail mail, via USPS, or you can also drop it off at one of our 13 drop boxes for this November 7th. Okay, it's very easy. It's very convenient. You seal the envelope, you sign it, you drop it into the box. If you choose to do so, I mean, you can always come to our office at Burger Drive. Okay, if any one of you is driving by 101 and off of Old Oaken Road, take Old Oaken Road exit, or take Brokaw if you're coming from the other side, and then find Burger Drive, and here we are. Okay, you'll be going right into our main office and drop it in person. Okay, so it's totally very much up to you. Now, when it comes to vote at a vote center, as I said earlier, we have 3 vote centers opening on Saturday, October 28th. And so that means you have October 28th, Saturday to vote, and then you have November 4th, Saturday to vote. This is why I was saying the Voter Choice Act is great because it allows all of us who do not have the time to vote on election day because we're at work, because we're going to be out of town, because we're going to be doing something else, or because, yes, I can vote on election day, but I don't want to drive back and forth when everybody's trying to vote, so I can vote earlier. This is great because you can actually bring the whole family of those of you who are eligible to vote and go vote as a family. Go to the nearest vote center close to you. Go to a community center, a high school, whatever we can find that is available to us. If needed and if available to us, we'll ask them to host a vote center, and hopefully you'll find one in your neighborhood. Okay, and so again, this election, you'll be voting only and only for a local ballot in San Jose or in Los Altos. As I mentioned earlier, accessible voting options are touchscreen, audio ballot, bilingual ballots and assistance are also available. And this is why we're doing these voter language workshops. By law, we do have to have these voter language workshops so that all languages in the county that are eligible to vote get to see the options. And so hopefully they'll be more interested in voting, and they'll bring more people to pay attention to the civic duty and vote every election. Okay. All right. So bilingual ballots and assistance are available at every vote center. We do target these vote centers as best as we can, and we'll have different bilingual staff at different vote centers. Also, for those of you who perhaps just moved into Santa Clara County, or you moved into Santa Clara County last week, last month, last year, but you never did change your registration, you never updated your registration, if you wait until the last minute, you can actually come into a vote center and do a conditional voter registration ballot. What that means is that you'll be filling out paperwork for conditional voter registration. You'll be given a yellow envelope and a ballot. You get to vote on that ballot. You place that ballot inside the yellow conditional voter registration return envelope, and then you put it in the blue bag that we have at the vote centers. Once we get that document in the office, we'll then confirm that you can vote in this county and nowhere else. And then if you in fact are eligible to vote, that ballot will be counted. Okay. Now, of course, this is for a very small percentage of, people who don't have the time to register and vote. And so for those who do need this option is available to you at the vote center and also here in the office. Okay. So again, it's just, there's so many ways that we make it more easier for someone to exercise the right to vote. Okay, so know please that you do have these options. All right. Now, as I said earlier, you can also update your address at your vote center. Okay. And again, as I said, if you're right here at Burger Drive, come on over to Burger Drive and you can do it here at Burger Drive and take care of it in no time. Now, for those of you who are eligible to vote this election, you're in luck because this election really you have a couple items to vote for, so it'll be very easy. Okay, so there's really no reason for you not to vote this election because it's super, super easy. There's only a couple of items for you to select. Also, what's going to happen at the vote center is that if you do make a mistake on your ballot at home, let's say you're voting from home, you open up your vote by mail ballot, and then you select one option when you wanted to select something else, you can actually come to a vote center, give up that ballot, and we'll give you a new set. Okay, and so that way you'll get to vote right away at the vote center in person. So that's a great question to have, a great option to have for all of us. Okay, and of course the other thing that we do at the vote centers is curbside voting. Curbside voting, if you're not familiar, is for those voters who, for some reason, cannot exit their cars or their vehicles and come and vote in person. Some people just cannot exit their cars for whatever reason. Maybe someone, uh, is not feeling well. Maybe they turn their ankle, or they can't be in public for some reason. A variety of reasons. Okay, when this happens, all you have to do is you actually have to drive your vehicle. Well, hopefully someone else will be driving it for you. You drive your vehicle to the front of the vote center. In front of the vote center, we are going to have a stanchion with a sign on it. The sign is going to have a phone number for you to call. You call the phone number and you tell that vote center lead, say, "Excuse me, sir, but you know what? I cannot leave the car. I hurt my foot last night, whatever reason it is. I cannot vote. I cannot leave my car. I need to vote for my car. My wife is driving for me. What should I do?" And then we'll have to the lead vote center lead will then tell you to, please just park right outside. There should be a designated area for you to park. There's an ADA sign, and there's also probably a curbside voting space for you. And then you wait there until we come out. And so when this happens, our vote center staff will actually bring an e-poll book to check the voter in. And if the voter is eligible to vote, we'll then ask them if they want to vote a paper ballot or electronic ballot. If they vote a paper ballot, we'll bring them a paper ballot so they can make the selection from the car. And then whoever's driving with them can actually bring the ballot inside with one of us so that two people can then cast the ballot. So the voter knows that it's totally the voter's ballot that's been voted, okay? The voter can also ask for electronic voting, at which point we bring out the voting machine, okay? Obviously, that's a big piece of equipment, so the voter will be able to reach and then vote on that machine. So in any case, these, of course, don't happen frequently. This is for the rare chance when we do have someone that is a conditional voter or a curbside voter or makes a mistake on the ballot, okay? But what I've just told you is basically to give you peace of mind and to let you know that we do as best as we can to make sure that all of you exercise your right to vote. As I already said a few times, early voting is available at our office. Starting next Monday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., you can come in and vote. And then Saturday and Sunday of October 28th and the 29th, and then November 4th and November 5th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that's 9 a.m., not 8 a.m., because those are weekend hours. On election day, of course, you can vote at our office like any election day from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Do check the hours all the time if you forget about this information. Where can you find this information? At our webpage, okay? Again, our webpage is sccvote.org. As I said at the beginning of this presentation, everything that I'm telling you now can be found on our webpage, all right? Also on our webpage, we have a phone number listed. You can always call us and we'll be able to provide information over the phone. If you also want to just give us a call, you can call us at 408-299-VOTE, all right? Here is a list of the ballot drop-off locations. Okay, as I said earlier, there'll be 13. And you will notice that these are only San Jose and around Los Altos. Why is that? Because the election is only for voters eligible to vote who live in these areas. Okay, and so what you have in here is specific boxes dropped off strategically around the areas where voters who can vote for the election will be voting. Remember that this is a special election. It's only for certain voters in San Jose and voters in Los Altos Hills. You can actually find this list in our webpage, and I'll show you that in a second. This is a list of vote center locations. As I said earlier, on election day, how many vote centers will you have? Do you remember that? A total of how many? 3 or 1? 4. Total of 4. On election day, you'll have total of 4 vote centers open. All right, will be the town of Los Altos Hills Council Chambers, Lowell Elementary School on the multi-purpose room, Roosevelt Community Center in the dance room, and then the African American Community Service Agency, the multi-purpose room. All of these 4 sites will be open on election day. But If you want to vote earlier, you can actually go to the town of Zatos Hills, Lowell Elementary School, and Roosevelt Community Center starting on October 28th. Those hours will be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., including open at lunchtime. So come visit us if you're ready to vote. And again, it's very small items for you to vote this election. It's a very simple ballot decision for you to make. As I said earlier too, of course, our vote centers, they're all accessible voting. All right. We do as best as we can. We do reserve parking spots outside. We do bring our own ADA placards that we put outside A-frames to reserve more spaces for those drivers who need disabled parking spaces. We usually already have those in the parking lots, but we'll bring this closer to the vote centers to make sure that they are available to more voters who drive in who need this feature. We also do provide remote accessible vote by mail to those of you who cannot vote in person in an emergency, for example. You can actually find more about RAVBM or remote accessible vote by mail ballot on our webpage. On our webpage, when you go into our webpage, you will see that we have multiple tabs. One of those tabs is called Vote by Mail. Click on the Vote by Mail tab, and then you will see all the different options and all the products and services that the Vote by Mail team has available to all of you. Bilingual ballots. So as I said, this presentation today will be presented in many languages. And of course, we do have those same languages available to all of you, basically on demand, whatever language you want. When you registered to vote, you selected a language. If you did not select the language, then you'll get a English ballot by default. But let's say you checked a preferred language, and your preferred language falls under one of these: Chinese, Hindi, Japanese, Khmer, Korean, Spanish, Tagalog, Vietnamese. Let's say your preferred language is Vietnamese, or you just checked Vietnamese because you were curious about it. What happens is that you will then receive on your vote by mail packet, you'll receive a Vietnamese ballot. When you go to the vote center, it's slightly different. When you go to the vote center, you can pick any one of these languages. So you can select English, you can select Hindi, Japanese, Khmer, Chinese, Korean, Spanish, Vietnamese, or Tagalog. All right. And so these are the options that you have. These are not only available by printing, but these are also available on the touchscreen voting machine. And as I said earlier, you can actually start a ballot in Chinese, and then you decide to switch it back to English or vice versa. You can go back and switch it. And if you have already made selections, those selections will remain, but you'll be able to keep the selections in whatever language you switch to. Same thing applies for the audio ballot. Audio ballot is also available in all of these languages. So again, it's up to you, the voter, to ask for options, to ask for these languages, and then your vote center staff will then assist you and provide you with the best option that you're looking for. We also provide facsimile paper ballots in general, but for this election on November 7th, because it's a very small election, we actually don't have the need to print these facsimile ballots. But we do provide them in other languages such as Telugu, Tamil, Nepali, and a few other languages, Gujarati, okay? So if you do have someone in your family, a friend or relative who is a speaker of these languages, the person is a registered voter, is eligible to vote, and would like to get a copy or facsimile in the Gujarati language, for example, then just give us a call at 408-299-VOTE so we can help them with that. Or if you go to a vote center, we can also provide more information to you at that time. Okay, so again, there's plenty of languages, but of course, the majority of our voters are or prefer the English ballot. So options abound for all of us who are eligible to vote this election. What you see now is the other item that we send to your mailbox. When you see these, please don't throw them away. Okay, your tax money is paying for these, so please take advantage. This gives you all the information you need to know about voting. This tells you information, general information about voting. This also provides you a list of where to go and vote in person. This CVIG also provides you a list of where to drop off your vote by mail ballot, but most importantly, it gives you the candidate statements and it gives you a summary, though of course it's coming from the from the from the different organizations who put in those measures. It'll tell you what each measure stands for. So basically, it tells you it's a sample ballot, right? It basically is a sample ballot for all of you. These do come in Chinese, English, Spanish, Tagalog, Vietnamese. They do not come in the other languages because at the moment we're not required to do so. Remember, all we do is because we're required to do so. We don't do this on our own. We don't decide what to do. We're simply following the law so that you have the opportunity to vote when you are eligible to vote. Again, what happens with these county voter information guides? These are sent to every voter that is eligible to vote this election. As I said earlier, your if you live in an area of San Jose where you're eligible to vote, you'll get this one. But let's say you live in the west side of San Jose, then you'll not be getting one of these, for example, okay? Or the North County. Let's say you live in Palo Alto, you're not gonna be getting one of these because you're not either in Los Altos or you're not either in the San Jose Evergreen College District area boundaries. So you don't get one of these, all right? Now, these, of course, are always mailed to all of you in English. But again, for those of you who have also selected the preferred language of Chinese, Spanish, Tagalog, Vietnamese, you will receive another copy in that specific language. Keep these. Many of you like to open these up and then make your notations, make your own mock voting selections, and then bring this to the vote centers or put it next to your vote by mail ballots at home and then discuss how you're going to vote with your family, with your spouses, with your whoever it is, right? This is a great way to get more people to vote every single election. Now, this is important, how to mark your mail ballot. Now, if you are a mail ballot voter, when you are voting from home, you can actually use any ink pens that you have. You can use your ballpoint pen if you want. It's up to you. But we recommend that you use a quick, fast drying marker, all right? Because when you use a fast drying marker, there's no residue left. So when you close the ballot and you fold it and you put it in the envelope, it's not going to smudge, all right? This is exactly why we use Sharpies at the vote centers. It enables the selections to dry fast, and it can go through the scanner without leaving any residue and getting the scanners dirty. Now, when you make your selections on the paper ballot, you simply pick up the marker. Okay, I'll use a marker, so I'm trying to give you an idea. Please use a marker if you can. And then fill in that dot, fill in that oval mark, and just fill it in inside. Okay, you don't have to overdo it. Just fill it in nice and neat. All right. Now, when you do have a write-in option, you have to make sure that you write in the name of someone that's been approved to be on this specific measure, okay? You do have to write the name of someone that is eligible to be a write-in voter. If Mickey Mouse is not eligible to be, in other words, if Mickey Mouse is not an eligible candidate, don't write Mickey Mouse because now if you do write Mickey Mouse, you've just lost a chance to make a difference to actually make your ballot count. If Peter Pan is eligible to vote and you decide to vote for Peter Pan, then obviously you write Peter Pan because Peter Pan is eligible to be on the ballot and your vote will count. All right, it's as simple as that. But the most important thing though, please do use a fast drying marker. Now, as I said earlier, if you are voting from home, by the time this ballot gets to our office, the ink is going to be more than dry. It'll be fine. Going back to the vote by mail ballot, okay, and I'm bringing this up to you because we do go to the trouble of getting this ready so that you can vote from your home, the convenience of your home. We do get this ready, we print this out, and we spend your tax money on this very beneficial item for all of you so that you can vote from home. You can think about how you want to vote for 20 days or however many days you want to take to make your decisions. And then, of course, you can drop it in the mailbox or in one of our approved boxes. This is the actual envelope that you have to return to us. 90% of the county is super familiar with this because 90% of the county already uses this ballot to vote. So this should not be new to any one of you unless you're a first-time voter. Maybe you're a high school student that's turning 18 and getting to vote, or someone that's coming from a different county or different state that perhaps has not had the benefit of vote by mail. Here it is. This is vote by mail. Okay. Again, as I said, this will come inside a white packet. Inside a white packet, you'll have instructions, the ballot, the return blue envelope, but most importantly, the one thing that you all want and that we all give out on election day, the famous I voted sticker. Okay. Now remember though that your ballot must be returned to our office by 8 p.m. on election day or postmarked before election day. So as long as you drop it off at the mailbox, at the USPS mailbox, or at the post office on election day by 8 o'clock, we'll get it the next morning as postmarked 8 o'clock of election day, and they'll be good. Okay. But of course, the earlier you do it, the better, because that first batch that we get in our office will be part of what's going to be counted and posted right after at some point 8 o'clock to tell everyone the early results for election. Okay, so it's very, very important that you drop this off to us earlier. Now, when it comes to the Dropbox, this is just a picture of the Dropbox that we have. You will see this throughout the county. In fact, I'm sure if you vote by mail, you've already seen this in the past. Last big election, which was last November, we had over 100 of these. Okay, so this election, we're only going to have 13 because, again, it's a very small election. All right. The most important thing, though, you have to bring it, your VBM ballot, sealed, the ballots inside, signed, and then drop them into this box by 8 p.m. Our staff will be driving around all of those early voting days, and at 8 o'clock, they'll come in and they'll seal the mail slot, and you cannot insert your mail ballots anymore, and then they'll bring everything into the office so we can start counting that same night. I just want to show you now a few of our online resources, okay? This is our webpage. This is where you can find information. This is typically the look, okay? It's the same look for all of the county agencies, but what I have on this page, if you look right under the County of Santa Clara Register of Voters logo, you'll see the different tabs, right? Register to vote, vote in person, vote by mail, get involved, and then elections. So this example that I'm showing you now is the page for the November 7, 2023 special election. This, I showing this to you so that you can see all the different information, all the resources, and all the things that we need in this office so that you can vote, okay? So please be sure to vote anytime you're eligible to vote. So in here you can find where to you can drop off your vote by mail ballots. You can find the vote center locations. You can find about online voter registration. You can check your voter registration to make sure that your address has been updated, to check your party affiliation, and to check whatever it is that you're looking for, okay? And of course, for mail ballot, okay, it's very, very important. Many of you don't know, but we do have mail ballot tracking, okay? Mail ballot tracking, let me see if you can see my mouse. I'm bringing the mouse over. See all the way on the right side? Under vote by mail, you see mail ballot tracking. Mail ballot tracking is a neat feature that when you sign up for, and basically you all have to do is really enter your information and your phone number. What it does is that as your vote by mail makes its way into our counting room, it's accounted for, and then you'll receive a text message saying we have received it, we are processing it, and or we have already counted it. All right. Or if you forgot to sign, we may even say, hey, maybe you forgot to sign this thing. You got to make sure you come over to sign it. Okay. But in any case, that really what happens is if someone forgets to sign, our excellent vote by mail team will track you, call you and say, hey, we have your ballot, but you haven't signed it. Come sign it if you want it to count. Okay. And that kind of stuff. So anyways, this is our website. Again, I just want to tell you all this information that you have on seccvotes.org. This is where you should come in to find information. This is where the information, legit information is, okay? So please, sure, go into social media, but if you have questions about any processes, if you have any questions about anything that you've seen on social media, please check in with us before believing in everything that you see, okay? This is our pride and joy. We do this for you. We have all the information that you're looking for. You have to come to us and ask for it. Okay, so I'm almost wrapping up in here. Okay, so please thank you so much for your patience. Now I want to talk about the VCES List. This is where you can find where to go and vote in person if you'd like to do that. Okay, so for example, this is our homepage. You'll have to go to the second tab called Vote in Person. Under Vote in Person, when the drop-down menu opens up, find the official VCES List and schedule and click on it. When you click on it, now you're taken to the next web page. On the next web page, when you scroll all the way down, you will see the list of vote centers. But let's say you want to print that list or you want to save it as a PDF. Sure. Then what you do is you go over here to the right and click on the official vote center location PDF document. All right. When you click on it, it's going to open up and then you can save it onto your mobile device, laptop, computer, wherever it is that you are, and you'll be able to keep that copy. But these days, you don't even need to do that, okay? You can just come to our website. As you can see, it's super easy to find. That's for the vote center list. Now, let me show you where you can find where to drop off your ballot onto one of our 13 drop boxes. Same thing, it's super easy. From our webpage, this time you go to Vote by Mail tab, and then you click on the official ballot Dropbox sites and early voting information. You see it here? Click on it, and what do you get? The official ballot Dropbox sites and early voting information webpage. Same thing. If you scroll down, which I can't because this is just a PowerPoint slide, if you were to scroll down, you would see the different boxes and their addresses. But if you would like to get a PDF file, then in that case, just like in the previous vote center list, you click on the official ballot Dropbox site's downloadable PDF file. All right, so this is the best way for you to find the information right away. Many of you like to call us, but see, it's available to you online, and you'll skip the phone queues and get information right away. The other thing I want to talk to you is that you can actually find also the nearest vote center to you or the nearest Dropbox. It's up to you, okay? This is our SECC Vote mobile app, all right? And I really would like you to download this application to your phone when you can, all right? Now, this is easy. This is basically made so that you can find the nearest vote center. There's two options for you to use this. One is you can select on or off. So if you select the on button, what is going to happen is when you do the search, your cell phone will know where you are within the county, and it's going to find the nearest vote center. It's going to say, hey, you are at point A. There is a vote center half a mile down the street. And then you go and vote there, okay? But you could actually live in Gilroy, and you're going to visit someone in Stanford, and you say, hey, I want to vote nearby Stanford. And then what you do is you click on the select the off button, and then you enter, for example, Stanford campus, okay? And when you enter Stanford campus, you're going to see one option to vote in Stanford, okay? When we do have a big election that is countywide, okay? We do have a vote center inside the Stanford campus, which is great for those students and anyone that's, working there. So anyways, so I just want to show off this option to all of you. Now you know that we have this information and these options for all of you to use whenever you have the need. Okay, and this is how you're gonna, you can download this. What happens is you can go to our elections webpage and then scroll all the way down and you'll see this at the bottom of the screen. I know, I apologize, I've been maybe talking too much. It's now 50 minutes past, so I'm gonna try to speed up a little bit so I can finish the presentation and then take some of your questions, okay? Again, early vote centers, remember again, it's Saturday, October 20th through Monday 6th. And do go at lunch hour, okay? Go for a walk, bring your sandwich, eat, go vote, come back to your work. You'll have plenty of time, all right? Election day, same thing. Obviously, traditional hours, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and 4 vote centers. And again, yes, I'm showing this to you because I want to make sure that you feel confident, and that's mostly, you know why we are asking you to use a quick drawing marker, in this case, Sharpie, because that's what we have, okay? And so use the Sharpie. Again, all you have to do is, fill in that circle, fill in as much as you can, and simple like that. As soon as you're done filling it in, the ink dries up. It's ready to go. And now what you do is you pick up that ballot, you insert it into the secrecy sleeve, and then you walk it into the scanner. And now, when you insert the ballot into the scanner, the ink is going to be dry. The scanner can read the ballot, and it's not going to, get the scanner dirty. all right? And so this is better for all of us, and that's why we provide a Sharpie for you to use at the vote centers. Now let me go into touchscreen voting. So as you heard me already talk about touchscreen voting is available to all of you. All you have to do really is ask the vote center staff for touchscreen voting. So the best thing to do this is obviously to use the touchscreen because, as I said, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can change the languages, you can go back and forth, and then you can change your mind and go forward or backwards to change the selection as you see needed. When you are ready to cast the ballot, you will then print the ballot. So actually what happens is from the touchscreen at the very last, when you're ready to print the ballot, you'll print the ballot. The ballot will then be printed onto this printer. It comes out as a single letter size document. You bring that up and then you will then feed it into the scanner, which I will show you in a few seconds from now. All right. The one thing I do want to show you right now, of course, is the touchscreen itself. See here at the bottom, at the base of the screen, you see this slot. This is where you place in the voter card, and the voter card will come out after you vote. And then, of course, please return that card to the election staff at the vote center, and you'll be done voting. Okay, but the screen. Oh, by the way, when you do use the audio ballot, the screen goes blank, obviously, so that no one can see what you're voting for or how you're voting for. As I said, not only can you zoom in and zoom out, of course, but that includes resizing of the fonts. We do have a tool that we call Salt, which is a very malleable stick, if you want to call that, with a soft tip, which is like a stylus tip. So for anyone who perhaps may have difficulty in holding their hand steady, they can always ask for this instrument and then use it to make the selections on the screen. And of course, this Salt instrument, you can actually bend it, wrap around your hand, or make it as comfortable as possible for you to use it and in a convenient way. This is the audio controller. And so this is the audio controller that if you do select or do choose to use an audio ballot, you actually will be using these oversized buttons to move from contest to contest to make your selections and then to move to the end of the ballot and then cast your ballot. When you do vote an audio ballot, you still will get that paper ballot, and then of course with your own guidance or with someone to assist you, you can always bring the ballot paper itself to the scanner and get it counted and actually cast on the scanner. All right. And so speaking of casting the ballot on the scanner, this is what I want to show you. This is the actual scanner. So this is the actual act of the voter casting the ballot. All right. You place the ballot, excuse me, from your secrecy sleeve into the scanner, and then it goes in. And once it goes in, it actually will give you the reviews, and you can review your selections. And then at that point, you can cast or you can return the ballot. But obviously, 90% of you have already reviewed your ballot before you even printed it out. And so you know how you're selected already. And then usually, of course, you just press the cast button and then your ballot goes in and it gets casted. About to wrap up now. And so I want to remind you all that the last date to register to vote for this special election, November 7th, is October 23rd. If you do not register by October 23rd and you run out of time for some reason and you are eligible to vote, what are your options? Conditional voter registration. Remember, we talked about that earlier, okay? So you do have that option either at the Registrar of Voters or at any one of the 4 vote centers. One quick item to cover, and that is COVID, right? Because COVID, we had a little bit of a surge, but everyone seems to be okay now. And so we do have to follow, obviously, the county's health guidelines. And so for the time being, obviously, we don't have to wear masks, but obviously if things do change in the future, whatever the county health department tells us to do, we'll follow. We'll follow that, and then we will ask our staff at the vote centers to also follow those guidelines, and we'll ask anyone visiting the vote centers to also follow the same guidelines. So please keep in mind that for the time being, obviously, we don't need to use masks, but if the county asks us to do so, we'll do that ourselves, and we'll ask all who come to visit us at the vote centers to respect the same guidelines. we will have face masks and hand sanitizers for those of you who wish to use it. Again, as I said many times, please follow us on our webpage, all right? And also when you vote, the day that you vote and you take a photo of your ballot, take a photo of yourself dropping it into the ballot box, or the day that you take a picture of yourself voting in person at the vote center machine, uh, tag us on your social media, you know? If you're on X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, next door, just tell everybody how wonderful a time you had at the vote center, because you have to inspire those around you to vote, all right? The purpose of this workshop today is to tell you all of these options, but it'd be really nice if you can go out and spread the word for us and become a partner, a collaborator, and inspire everyone else to vote. Also, what we do have is something called Go Green. So all those county voter information guides that I was showing to you earlier, was the pink version this time. That one is sent to all of you. Now, for the selection, of course, there's only about over 70,000 voters. But imagine when we have 1 million voters. Every one of you gets one of those packets. Wouldn't it be better if you actually get that in electronic format as a PDF that you can have on your phone, your tablet, on your computer? You can take it with you everywhere you go. And so that way you can actually see and study the ballot samples and all those things before you actually get to vote. And so that will be great not only for you, but it'll be great for nature, because there'll be many, many millions of pounds of paper that we can save over the course of many years, okay? Remember that these county guides, they have many, many pages. And if you multiply that times a million voters, that's a lot of paper, okay? So if you can, if you'd like to, contribute to lessen the amount of paper that we have, to print and to use and to spend really, then please go ahead and sign up for the Go Green option. That is, instead of receiving an actual paper copy, you'll be you'll have access to your own county vote information guide electronically, meaning you'll be able to save it as a PDF anytime you want. I just want to remind you all that today is the first of many of these voter language workshops. On Wednesday, we'll be following up with the Chinese, and then the Vietnamese, Tagalog, Hindi, Spanish, Korean, Punjabi, Telugu, Tamil, Gujarati, Japanese, Khmer, and Nepali. So if you know anyone from these communities, please let them know about voting, okay? Let them know that we do so much to get everyone to vote, that all we need really is for you to take your time to vote and believe in the system. All right. So this is a great way to help make sure that more people vote and everybody gets a chance to vote for what they feel is right. All right. So thank you. I'm sorry, it basically took me 1 hour, but let's open up for questions. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? You can raise your hand, please, and Eric will let you ask your question, or you can also type your question to the chat messaging, and then we'll answer your questions.
Hi, Paula. It's Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Thank you everyone
Okay.
for being here. We do have one question in the chat,
Oh,
and the question and answer section, and it's from an anonymous attendee, and it's asking, can you please explain a little more about how to fill out the vote by mail envelope? Anyone can drop off our ballot, right?
yes, correct. Thank you. Thank you, Eric, for the question. So yes, so a little bit more information about vote by mail. So basically what it is, it's if this is your ballot, right? You'll receive the package. Um, you make your selections, and then when you are happy with your selections and you're decided that you've made everything you need, you made all the selections that you were possibly able to make, you fold it nice and neat. The ballot itself is pre-scored, okay? So there's a way that you need to fold it. It'll fit into the blue envelope, seal the blue envelope, sign it, print your name and an address, and then basically once it's sealed, you can just then decide. You only basically have to make two decisions at that point, which is, do you want to drop it off at the USPS mailbox, or do you want to drop it off at one of our approved 13 boxes, or you want to come all the way over to Burger Drive and drop it off in person? So it's up to you. But the process itself is very simple, okay? It's very simple. It's very also self-explanatory, but also this is why we send you a packet, because that packet doesn't simply have a return envelope and ballot. That packet actually has instructions for you, okay? Also, when you put that together with the civic or the county vote information guide, that county information guide also gives you all the information on how to properly fill out these ballots. Okay, so again, it's very easy. You simply make your selections on the ballot, fold it along the pre-scored lines, place it inside of the blue envelope, seal it, sign your name, put your name, an address, and then drop it off somewhere. And yes, you can drop off your own ballot, but also let's say you can, you have your spouse and your children are of age of voting at home, you can actually bring their ballots and also drop it off at any one of these options, really. Okay, so you can bring this up for you. Anyone can drop off for you, absolutely. All right, as long as you trust them, they'll be fine. But of course, that's a good option to have.
Thank you, Paulo. And then we didn't get another question, but we got a shout out from Jordan Michael. And it says,
Oh,
no questions, just happy to be here and receive all this important information. Thank you.
yeah. Well, thank you, Jordan, for that. And thank you really to all of you who took the time to be here with us tonight. So let me go back to the second question. That is there a voting hotline? Yes, yes. So yes, I'm sorry. I maybe just said it too fast. So we do have two hotlines, okay? And let me explain why. One of the hotlines is for voters who may have questions about their voter eligibility, about their voter registration information, about their current address, and so forth. So this, if any one of you has questions about this sort of items, then you should be calling 408-299-VOTE. And that will take you to one of our staff in the office, and they'll be able to open up your information and then confirm your address, confirm your party registration, and anything else that you are looking to find out. Okay. Also, if you want to find out about vote centers or where to drop a few boxes, they can also help you. We do have another hotline for our staff at the vote centers, and that is what we call our 299 poll hotline. And that is really for our vote center staff because in the case that our vote center staff has any questions about any specific voting scenario, they can always call us at 408-299-POLL. But those cases are very few because our election officers are trained by the best. Okay, so we have an awesome team of training of election officers, and they do come to our lengthy classes. They learn hands-on, they study, and they have to listen to us for 3 or 4 days. So we take great pride in having the best election officers in the county and in the state of California. And so if you still have any questions though, you can always call again 408-299-VOTE or 408-299-POLL, mostly if you are an election officer. And by the way, if you have the time to work and help us out at the vote centers part-time, we are looking for people to work at the vote centers. All right, so you can work for us up to 14 days in a row or 7 days in a row, I believe. All right, and so what happens is we'll pay you to come to a class. You'll come to a class, we're going to pay for you to come to a class, and then we're going to assign you to work at a vote center, and you'll meet new friends, new people, and for sure you're going to meet a lot of new friends who have been volunteering to vote at the vote centers, to work at the vote centers for many, many years. Okay, so you really see it's a very nice community to have. It's almost like a brotherhood and sisterhood of those who dedicate, some time of their life to be at the vote centers. And so if you have that sort of a drive, sign up, work with us, come over, visit our webpage. And I'm just going to tell you this, visit seccvote.org and then go into the tab called Get Involved. On Get Involved, you'll find the different opportunities for you to sign up and work with us. Okay, now, if you want to work with us, help us at the vote center, don't wait until the day before election day. Doesn't work like that. Okay, we need to put you into our system months ahead of time and also schedule you for a class that we are going to pay you to attend. Okay, so that's it. Anyways, there was a lot of information, right? But I hope that you would like to help us or know someone who is available to help us at the vote centers. And by the way, if you want to work with us at the vote centers, you have to be specific and tell everybody, I only want to work at the vote centers. That's where the action is. That's where I can help the community the best. Okay. All right. Do we have any more questions, Eric?
There was another question, but I answered it in the chat, and it was this: is
Oh, you
there a
did? Okay.
voting hotline? I may have missed this phone number. Sorry, and so I just answered it with 408-299-VOTE and
Mhm.
408-299-POLL.
Okay, so that's about the same. Good, good, good. Yeah, and so I know I don't want to take more of your time, but if there's any more questions, please let me know now. Or you know where to find the answers. Who are you going to call? 299 vote. Okay. for a way to 299 vote. Or of course, come to our web page. You'll have all the information that you need from our web page.